65 Logs Run Road. Question I have for the board is, this permit that EQT wants for the Saris pad, is this permit holding them to the Marcellus only because that's what they're drilling? Or are you giving them a permit to go from the surface to the center of the earth, drill any formation they want? That's what I want to know.
We don't govern that portion. This is a land use or conditional use to build a drill pad on the surface of this property. The layers of underneath the ground, that's all based upon the lease that EQT would have with the various landowners. We have no issue or jurisdiction over that. We don't give approvals for that.
Well, if they're drilling Marcellus and then they want to go into the Utica, which got twice as much gas, the township could make more money if they charged them again for the Utica. That's why I was asking.
Yeah.
No?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. Ms. Safco?
Yes. Darla Safco, 68 Aber Road, Finleyville, PA. I just wanted to say that through all this, and we've been coming here and speaking public comments, I'm just disappointed that I'm not hearing anything about, like, anything about us and our health and well-being with all this drilling. There's no comments. There's nothing. I mean, I want to hear that from the people that represent me. I want to hear that you're concerned about our health and our safety. So that's my comment.
Thank you. Okay. There's another public comment.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sensky. I'm the organizing director with the Center for COALFIELD Justice, and we've been working with residents in Union Township and representing members of ours that live here. In the past week, I can confirm that at least 21 residents that live in Union Township have submitted a letter with 6 additional conditions that they're asking for in relation to the Sarah well pad. I'm going to go through those. Excuse me. The Center for COALFIELD Justice is a nonprofit organization centered in Washington, Pennsylvania, dedicated to protecting the public and environmental health of residents in southwestern Pennsylvania. As such, and on behalf of our members, we are acutely aware of the impacts caused by oil and gas development and the need to address those impacts adequately. Residents living near the proposed Sarah well pad have raised concerns about the proposed development and operation of the site. CCJ believes that these concerns can be addressed efficiently and cost effectively by both the Board of Supervisors and EQT. Article 1, Section 27 of the Pennsylvania Constitution means something very tangible and real to people across the Commonwealth. It protects inherent rights that are essential to life. The text of Article 1, Section 27, identifies 2 distinct yet related fundamental rights and corresponding duties. The first inherent and indefeasible right guarantees clean air, pure water, and the preservation of the natural, scenic, historic, and aesthetic values of the environment. The second grants common ownership to all the people of Pennsylvania's public natural resources. The final clause of the Environmental Rights Amendment creates a trust designating the Commonwealth and all its subdivisions, including Union Township, as the trustee, the natural resources of the Commonwealth composing the trustees, and all the people in future generations as the beneficiaries. Union Township's duties as a trustee requires the conservation and maintenance of the corpus of trust, the public natural resources of the Commonwealth. The plain meaning of the terms conserve and maintain implicates a duty to prevent and remedy the degradation or depletion of our public natural resources. The Commonwealth, including Union Township, has a further duty to, quote, act towards the corpus of the trust with prudence, loyalty, and impartiality. Put more simply, the Board of Supervisors must act to conserve and maintain public natural resources in a prudent, loyal, and impartial manner. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court has been clear The protection of environmental values is a quintessential local issue that must be tailored to local conditions, as requested by those 21 residents via letters, and I'm sure more folks that are here today. The court has also stressed the importance of having a strong evidentiary record and instructed townships to make well-reasoned decisions about how the oil and gas industry will be regulated at the local level. That's why we're here. A well-reasoned decision requires a pre-decisional analysis, including careful consideration of public input about the residents' expectations regarding a particular zone district and the impacts of oil and gas development on public natural resources, i.e. private water sources, air quality. Section 27 requires a pre-action analysis capable of informing the township on whether degradation is likely to incur, which necessarily entails understanding local conditions and using scientific data and analysis. The Board of Supervisors previously heard testimony related to flooding in and along Lobbs Road and an unnamed tributary which flows into Lobbs Run. According to EQT's application materials, the primary stormwater controls utilized on the Sarah well site are 2 managed release controls and 1 detention pond. The receiving streams are a UNT, an unidentified tributary, right, to Lobbs Run. And although EQT concludes that the stormwater control practices described in the application will reduce stormwater runoff, EQT does not acknowledge the existing flooding in the receiving streams. As a result, it is unclear whether EQT considered the existing flooding in its modeling, and the Board of Supervisors must ensure that EQT's construction and operation of the Sarah well pad will not exacerbate existing flooding, problems on Lobbs Run, or its tributaries. Any defensible pre-action analysis necessarily starts with acknowledging the existing local conditions, like flooding, that residents have cited in their concerns. The Board of Supervisors cannot make an informed decision regarding the environmental effects of its actions if it does not have an adequate understanding of what those effects are or will be. Likewise, the board cannot be said to have acted with prudence when it acts on speculative or incomplete information. A trustee's discretion does not extend to decisions based on speculation. This is because, of course, speculation on the part of the trustee demonstrates negligence in being ignorant of the facts which ordinary intelligence would have disclosed to him, or if known, in not exercising his best judgment upon them, him as in the board in general. Indeed, the Supreme Court has remarked that the trustee's fiduciary duties do not equate to mere subjective judgment. Nearby residents have raised other concerns about noise, air emissions, truck traffic, and potential impacts on private drinking water supplies. We encourage the Board of Supervisors and EQT to work with these residents to address their concerns. EQT prides itself on being a community partner. Particularly considering the past issues at the Trax well pad, EQT has now had an opportunity to demonstrate how it plans to communicate with nearby residents and protect measures like appointing 1 or 2 EQT employees as the primary community contact for the Sarah well pad going forward. This would go a long way to increase community confidence that EQT will be responsive to community questions and concerns for the Sarah well pad. We encourage EQT and the board to explore other creative and cost-effective solutions that would address residents' concerns and questions. We know that they have placed an additional condition as of the last meeting that would allow residents within 3,000 feet to have testing of their private water supplies before fracking and 60 days after. In our ask to the board, it was asked that they extend that to be a little more specific of what constitutes fracking operations. Will they continue to test when they come back to continue to drill? What happens if the water is contaminated? What is EQT going to do? What do they have to follow in the guidelines of providing water to those residents? And the other ask was that they support an air monitoring program of some sort that is similar to what Range Resources has committed to some residents in Cecil Township, not far from here. And the third ask was that we did see the additional condition around the emergency response plan. That was great, but residents are hoping that with the help of the board and EQT, that there can be some sort of reverse 911 system in place so that if there is an emergency, that residents get some sort of message immediately that is in place ahead of time, especially given the issues around ambulance services here. And so I invite you to please review those letters and look at those conditional asks. They are reasonable. The residents are not trying to stop the well pad or ban it from happening. They're just asking for some conditions in place that are reasonable enough to protect their families. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?